Charvel.
Dude, I'm so incredibly excited right now because it's New Guitar Day. And it's
always a good day.
Always a good day, regardless.
It's been a long time for you.
It's been a really long time for me. And so I've been selling stuff rather than buying stuff.
Yeah.
And so this is like a huge, huge day for me. So I'm excited. And in a twist of cosmic fate, 2 days ago I cut my fingers the day before the guitar came in. So
gotta hate that.
Yeah, so this is gonna be sort of bittersweet, but I managed to like hold on to it and say like, let's
I don't think I could have done that. But
it was tough.
It's sealed up.
It was tough, but I wanted at least my fingers to heal a little more so I could try
at
to
least play
right,
yeah.
as I haven't touched a guitar in a while. So the kind of guitar that I bought that I wanted to buy for a long time, we've been talking about the whole Superstrat concept.
Superstrat.
Right,
Yes.
exactly. And being a kid of the 80s, that was always my fantasy guitar, you know? And you liked them, but not quite as much because you were more on the punk side of things.
Yeah, and you know, we'll dig into what we used to have, but what I really wanted was a nice Strat, and you know, didn't have the funds for that.
But like a Strat, not a...
Correct.
Yeah.
Because Hendrix.
Yeah.
And what the Zappa that I first started watching, you know, was around 84 when he was playing a Strat style guitars, which he did 84 and 88. So that was kind of my thing. And, you know, Zappa, Hendrix, you know, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
But so, yeah, a lot of the guys that I admired were doing that. But I wound up with what equated to sort of a Superstrat, not in the vein of what a lot of guys had back then, but not a Charvel, which, you know, and again, being in bands in the mid to late 80s, you know, I was in bands with guys that had the Model 1s and the whatever, Charvels and Jacksons, and, you know, a couple guys had the neck through, I mean, the real expensive ones and
the
stuff,
fancy ones.
the Jacksons, I guess, but Charvel was, of course, like the biggest name in 80s, late 80s guitar. Or mid to late 80s
and that just a lot of the guys that I was really digging had those kind of guitars,
Right.
if not actually Charvels, the same kind of idea where it's like a stripped down Strat body, maple neck, Floyd Rose, which was is the thing that I'm missing from my arsenal, from this whole arsenal.
Right.
No Floyd
I've never
Roses
owned
yet.
a Floyd Rose guitar.
The Ibanez was Ibanez.
Its own, that weird.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a takeoff on that. It was, you didn't have to cut the ball ends off or anything, but it had the locking.
Where did the ball ends go? Like the back of the
There
bridge?
was, you know, they went in the top, and
but they just
there was
pushed
like
the whole ball?
there was a, like much like on a Floyd, there were thumb screws.
Yeah.
But they weren't like flat like the Floyd. They were like a knurled knob that was kind of like, it looked like a small volume knob or something, but it was on each of the,
Okay, yeah.
And then the locking, you know, unit, of course, at the top, same idea. It was basically, all right, what can we do that's like a Floyd Rose?
Right.
Yeah. So mine was, I want to say it was 84 or 85 RS 440. So I know we've mentioned that before, but
We need to get a shot of that up there. I want to see that.
there's one for sale on Reverb that's like exactly like mine.
Really?
So, yeah, I'm
Oh,
like,
snap.
I don't know. I don't know if it's worth $500, but I mean, it's probably worth it. But
Who
very
knows?
heavy guitar, but
Oh, was it heavy?
yeah, very heavy.
Well, I had my first real guitar was an Area Pro 2, and it was that idea. It was it was like their own shape, but it was a single humbucker.
Got to have pictures of that.
Yeah, I hope so, man, because it was ridiculous and awesome. Single humbucker, single volume, tremolo, but not locking. But it was a cool guitar, and it was the best thing I'd had.
Like a Fender style tremolo?
Yeah.
Like a 6?
So I did, So I didn't use that very
Smart.
much, but I always dreamt of that. And then I ended up getting a Kramer Beretta.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, I didn't know you had
So I went from kind of like beginner stuff straight to something that at least I thought was like big time. I borrowed money from Gavin, my brother.
Right.
This was in high school. He was working and saving money. He's real good at saving money. I'm not so much.
Was Beretta's what Eddie Van Halen used, isn't it? Later.
Well, he marketed them. I don't know if he really used them much. There was a bunch of We can find the
Well, there's
ad.
at least one of his guitars had the Kramer headstock, right?
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it was
yeah.
a Beretta-ish. But
Yeah, but he was holding it in an ad for Kramer that was like, ooh, like that was like, man, I gotta have that. And I remember it was like $800, which was a lot of money to me in those days. But I got it. I was so stoked about it, and
now you got to have a picture of that.
And it wasn't that
Really?
great. It was so disappointing.
Why?
I was just like, hey. Well, it was sort of cheaply made. The neck was in the joint very well, and I didn't really know what I was doing then. I couldn't really work on it, and I probably could have if I had more time. Or
so it moved, or it was just not
yeah,
straight?
it wasn't straight, and like so the strings were kind of hanging off a little bit.
Seems like that would have been fixable, but
probably. But,
was it brand new?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, where'd you get it from? That was here or back in Virginia?
No, it was in Virginia.
Oh, okay.
Alpha Music, I think, is where I bought it. But yeah, so I was my first really stokeable guitar, and it was a Floyd Rose for real, and I was like, man, here it is.
But how long did that last?
I brought it with me here when I moved down. When I left Virginia and moved down here, I had the Area Pro and that, and played that in the band I played in with Doug. The first thing that we did, Arrakis.
Wow.
But anyways, I brought it here and it was a cool guitar, but like it just wasn't happening.
Man, that's disappointing though.
Then I stripped down my Area Pro and painted it, and then had a guy airbrush some stuff on it, and then put a Floyd Rose on it myself. And took the finish off the back of the neck, so it was like bare wood on the back of the neck, and, and did a tongue oil thing with that, and installed the Floyd Rose, and it. So I had two Floyd Rose guitars at that point.
Wow.
Got rid of the Kramer because it just didn't work for me for whatever reason.
Some sucker did.
Yeah, basically. Parker Music, it was in Parker Music. And so then I had that Area Pro, which was a Floyd Rose guitar, but it was sort of like, again, do it yourself, not really great. And then I had, and I ended up selling that, and I ended up having one of those Ibanez's, not the one that you had, but more of like the RG, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the later ones.
The later ones.
No pick guard.
No pick guard,
right,
exactly.
Looked more like a later Charvel or something.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So it was that kind of thing, and that guitar was actually pretty cool. It was kind of, just a good rock thing, but it had the locking tremolo.
It was probably a different one, I would guess. I think they made changes to them over the
tremolo.
years.
Yeah. It was more like a Floyd Rose, but it wasn't branded Floyd Rose, but it was more like that. But cool guitar. And then in there somewhere was when I bought my black Strat that I have still, but it was blocked off.
Right.
But I didn't. That was what I wanted. I was like, okay, this is a beat up Strat. It's got a vibe to it. I would love to have a Floyd Rose on this particular guitar, but I just couldn't. I didn't want to change it because it was magical to me. The way the bridge has blocked off, because I've had that guitar
as long
forever.
as I've known you, you've had that guitar.
Yeah.
So since, what, 80-something, right?
Yeah.
Because I came around in 93, and you definitely still have it.
I've just always loved that guitar the way it was, so I didn't want to mess with it. And even when I started doing this shopping and thinking about a new guitar, I was thinking, well, maybe it's time. Because I put a new neck on it finally, but I was like, you know what? No. So I started going down the rabbit hole and kind of all over the map, but I always wanted a Strat body with a pick guard because I kind of like the more Stratty look, but with the humbucker, Floyd Rose, maple neck kind of vibe. And that's, to me, that's what Charvel does really, really well. And that's what they did all through the 80s and whatnot. So when I started researching, there was the two models, the San Dimas and the SoCal.
Yep.
And basically, they seem like pretty much the same specs, except for one's got a pick guard and is front loaded, and the one is electronic in the back. So ended up finding one that was a blim.
That's a good way to get guitars. I do that a lot.
I mean, because I obviously don't care about that stuff.
And you know what? Generally, the guitars I've bought that are blems, no blems. You just get it, and it's just probably something that someone bought, and then they sent back immediately.
Well, he sent me pictures of it, so we'll find out here in a minute. But nothing like terrible. When I bought that black Strat that I love so much, I got it for super cheap, but it was scratched all across the top. Like actually scratched, and I was like, I was cool with that. It's like that kind of gives it some character. So I'm really not worried about that at all.
No.
But
they're never going to stay pristine unless they stay in the case. So.
Exactly. I'm all about practical over aesthetics. But anyway, so found the guitar, placed in Texas, found it on Reverb, He shipped it out Monday. It came Thursday, and it's been sitting in the box ever since. So, I'm so excited. Like this is like Christmas on steroids for me because I really think this is going to be like a real guitar.
Well,
For
your
this
other
kind
one
of
is,
guitar,
but-
yeah, but I've always felt like I've never really had like, and I know it's not.
You know what? Though it's served you for. We've talked about this before. There's the guys that go through tons of gear like I do, but sometimes we keep things like my Yamaha and certain guitars and amps and stuff. But like a Tom Morello, right? He's got like a couple 3 guitars that he's used for so many years, and a JCM 800 and a 412. You know, you're that kind of guy. So which it is what it is. You know, everybody is different. It's subjective, and it's all about what inspires you. And if that same instrument inspires you, great. If owning different instruments inspires you, great too.
And let's talk about that for a minute, because I definitely went through a phase where I was hanging around kind of hipstery. It was church band culture, and I don't know if you've had any experience with that, but those guys can be like
I don't
hipster
have a lot
on
of church.
steroids. I know, probably not.
Not in the last 30, 40
And you know,
years.
just vintage guys, vintage amp guys. I mean, there's a lot of hipsterism with all that, regardless. But in the church culture, at least that I was a part of, that was a high priority. Like everything has to be the thing, you know. And it was very confusing to me at first, but I like wanted to learn it, you know. So I was like, all right, so this is cool and this isn't cool, and you know, and I learned some really cool stuff about amps through that process. But
yeah, it's all about what sounds good, though.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I was thinking like, you know, if I got a guitar like this, like I'm gonna get made fun of because that's, you know, you don't play those guitars in that setting, and you're one of those guys.
Well, at least
and,
the church guys aren't going to beat you up most of the time.
well, true, just shame me.
Maybe.
But anyway, so yeah, whatever. But I just have come full circle, and it's like, you know what? Is what you just said a minute ago. That is what inspires me. Like that kind of guitar inspires me to do the music I want to do. So who cares?
Right.
You know?
And I've never heard anybody scoff about your Strat, be like, Kevin playing this early 80s beat Strat that he's put all these different No, it's always what a great guitar player Kevin is. I mean, that's all it is. And the sounds. I mean, and that's the interesting thing too about the experimentalism that you've had with we talked about in other videos, stereo rigs and going way back and all, and you've always had sort of a not unconventional approach to that too, I think. So it's all about what's inspiring to people, and you know, maybe you're not some people are more of a collector type. I want to have 18 Strats and 17 different, you know, all these different iterations of Les Pauls and blah blah blah. I'm somewhere in between. I want. Yeah, I'm like, boy, I could really use a P90 Les Paul in addition to this humbucker one. It's a different thing. It's a different vibe. It's a different sound. But of course, to my wife, it's why in the world do you want another guitar?
You have a guitar.
Why do you need another guitar? Why do you need more? And same with, you know, basses. I've got some, but they cover different ground.
Yeah,
I mean, they
absolutely.
do.
Well, let's dig in, man. I can't stand it any longer.
All right.
Now, see, I think this says it all to me. Like, this is exactly, and I don't know what
Modified for higher performance.
I don't
That's
know
exactly what they did.
style or what kind of guitar player that makes some people think of, but like that's exactly what I wanted. I want a high performance guitar. Now, I love a classic Strat and, you know, that whole thing. But like if I had to choose one guitar, it would be something like that really performs well, you know. And
Well,
what a great
Right.
tagline.
And Charvel, as we've talked about, is now owned by Fender, and they're made in the same factory as Fender's, Mexico, which
again,
high quality.
Right. Yeah. It's not a custom shop, but that's okay.
I made a lot of money with a Mexican Strat for many years. So
They're good. They've
all I
got a
had.
good factory down there. And this is the Fender company now, right?
Yes.
The Charvel. I don't remember when Fender bought them out. They didn't say that in that documentary we were watching, did it? That didn't get that far.
Oh yeah. Speaking of that, that was a good. What was it called? The
Charvel gang.
Charvel original Charvel gang. Yeah, that was a cool watch.
Highly recommended. Very cool.
I just happened upon it. He told me he was buying this, and I was looking up the Charvel models and came across that, and yeah, it was
basically
really
the
cool.
history of Charvel
Yep.
and how it changed hands and whatever.
Fender.
Gamera black.
All right.
Do we know what
I have
that
no
word
idea.
is?
FMIC, Fender Musical Instrument Corporation.
All right. All right, here we go. Now, if the neck is broken or something,
Yeah, that'll suck.
it's gonna be a bad day.
Oh, look. It's not broken so far.
Nice.
Whammy. It doesn't want to focus. There it is.
So that's one of the blends. Whatever. Not a worry for me.
Nope.
All right. Nice and white maple, which I don't know if that has any tonal characteristics, but I really like the way it looks. And I love that logo.
Yeah. So brand new, it just has a blend or two. Okay.
Yep. He said in the thing that he had gotten a shipment in, and a few of them just had gotten dinged up.
Yep.
So he's selling them as B stock.
All right. Nice.
Dude, that's a good looking neck. Rounded, very comfortable fretboard, apparently, as was one of the selling points.
I like just the small things, like what's obvious to me, the truss rod adjustment wheel, which is a very easy way to adjust, versus having to, like on the older Strats, take your neck off or pull out, you know, the cover up here and make adjustments.
One of the guys I was reading up on that was like kind of like reviewing it was saying like you could actually change the neck on a gig. Like you could stick a little thing in there, move it right.
And they're the Duncan, which pickups?
That's a great question. They I'm trying to remember. Is
it distortion or something?
They're one set had like a 59 and a JB, but I think these are both distortions.
Okay.
Which I don't know if I'm gonna love. We'll see. I've looked at so many guitars.
Got 59s, a set of 59s sitting over there somewhere. If you ever wanted to try that. And then, not sure I've got other new humbuckers around, but I know it.
Oh, you have to keep up with Allen wrenches now.
Yep.
I forgot about that.
You can put a thing on the back.
I used to have one of those. I'll hook that up. All right. All right, and this is the Floyd Rose 1000, which is the mid-range. Like they've got a cheapo, they've got this one, and then they've got the like made in Germany or whatever.
I mean, it looks like it's got the little inserts. And
the specs are the same, but I think the metal is a little cheaper.
Okay.
I don't think I'm gonna be able to play this much, and
you got to get a chord out of it.
I need to hear it.
What fingers can you use?
These fingers are intact. Maybe this one is not
so
too
you
bad.
could
Definitely
like
the first finger is
E
weird.
minor. I think you can at least kick an E minor.
So it's got the bridge routing. Thank you.
Oh, so you can
go up.
Yeah. Very important.
Very important to some of us, maybe.
All right.
All right, here we go. Okay, not yet. What happened? See, okay, here we go. So we'll do the first chord again here in a minute. But here's the thing.
Oh, that wasn't locked?
It was, but like I am remembering now, it's all coming back because it's such a nightmare, and any floating tremolo, when you tighten up strings,
the other ones,
right. So
I wonder why they would still continue with this rather than just locking tuners on there.
I guess because the main slippage
stable?
point is the nut, because the strings have different tensions, and when you push down all the way and they go flat or flap over the nut, and then you pull it back up, they get stuck on the other side sometimes. This means there's nothing to move.
You got the roller nut like on my
right.
Okay,
but I don't.
So
know,
if you did that, if you put a roller nut and locking
you'd
tuners
think that'd be the
with
same.
your Floyd,
But I haven't seen that happen.
I haven't either. Yeah, I was just curious.
Through the Marshall Super Rig.
Super.
Oh, snap. Well, it's going to take a minute to get the strings where they need to be for sure. I'm going to pass this over to you though, man. Let me get this.
There you go. Ooh, nice. Is that split or not split?
I think what we've got is full humbucker.
Yep.
This is the
Middle coils?
inner coils, and this is this.
Got it.
And then with the split, we've got the this one, then the outer coils, and then that one.
Okay,
I think it's
that
right.
makes sense.
Yeah, so that's kind of very rear stratty.
Yeah, cool. Very cool.
Dude, I think I love it.
Yeah.
I think I love it, but I'm not going to hurt my fingers.
Don't
so
do it.
please. Or use a real pick, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Yeah, I'm pushing on the trem, which I do on my Jeff Beck too, but yeah, that's definitely something you gotta get used to.
Can really only use these 2 fingers, so it's a little limiting. All right, so final thoughts, what do you think?
Very cool. Versatile. I mean, I guess I knew it had the coil splits and stuff, but they really sound good. I mean,
I always think that kind of stuff is gimmicky. Like, okay, coil split, you have all these, but those sounds were actually really good. Like, usable for what I like. And I think it was very, very cool. And that.
And I know you can't make a true assessment because of your fingers, but what do you think the neck? I mean, it felt great to me.
Yeah, I really like the kind of super smooth back of the neck. The compound radius kind of vibe is cool. It seems like the action's a little high, which is interesting because I like high action typically, but like it's a little higher than I imagined it would be.
Yeah.
Does it feel a little high to you as well?
I didn't think so, but I mean, I can see what you're saying. For a shredder guitar, it's a little high, I guess.
And I don't,
definitely not high for me.
Okay, good. Because I think once my fingers are working out, because I like to be able to dig in, but I just feel like I can't do anything.
And I mean, it might need a truss rod adjustment or whatever too, but whatever.
And a convenient,
yes,
right there, truss rod, yeah. So yeah, Charvel, SoCal. Gamera black.
Yep.
22 frets, super rad guitar. I think, and I got it for $7 something. They're $9.99 everywhere, at least right now,
Yep,
at the time of this recording. And so, where was the other blimp?
Oh,
He was right there. That ain't even nothing. I couldn't see it in the pictures he was sending me. I was like, I don't know what that is. And so there you go. Dang. Well, I love it. I'm in love. I'll do a proper video where I can actually do stuff here, hopefully soon. Definitely a cruel joke to have a new guitar, but I appreciate you playing it and hooking it up. I like the rounded as well.
I mean, all the fretwork looks good. The fit and finish of everything looks great. So,
what's the grain pattern on it? Do you know?
Yeah,
I feel like they're not always that way, but I really like the look of that.
Yep. Speckled. I don't know. But I thought the pickup sounded good. The wiring scheme is cool. With, like I said, with the splits and everything. Yeah, I would have to get used to just like I have to on my Jeff Beck model, the floating drum. I'm always pushing it out of tune, and which is why I've got my other Strats
blocked
decked,
or whatever.
Just against, so I can push down, but I can't pull up because I'm always doing that.
Yeah.
So.
I felt myself slowly, kind of like muscle memory, I guess, remembering kind of where my hand needs to be to not make that happen.
Right.
Coming back, hopefully, but yeah, man, I feel like I could do lots of things on this guitar.
Absolutely. I mean,
and it looks pretty cool too.
It looks awesome. Yeah.
Definitely not goofy color, shredder, whatever stuff, which is cool too. I mean, if that's your thing. But
I like the Fender headstock, which of course they can do because it's Fender owns them now. Right. So it's actually like legal and everything.
I wanted it to look like a Fender, but be a little bit beefed up, and that's exactly what this is.
Yeah. So. And you can't find, they make like the Fender player strats, but.
Yeah, we were looking at those.
Yeah, I don't think, did any of them have I think they were all humbucker single with the Floyd. They didn't have all the features, that's for sure. They didn't have the split and the
and Sammy was asking.
Tone control is very cool too. I forgot to mention that.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, you turn it all the way up and it completely takes it out of the circuit.
And then
you turn it down a little. And
yeah. And Sammy was asking about the humbucker in the neck kind of thing, which I've just never had that configuration, or not in a long time at least.
Yeah.
But it's got all of the Stratty things that I need from this, but also.
And if it doesn't, your other guitar does.
Exactly. So, all right, man. Well, score on the old Charvel. I'm a fan. Great work, and thanks to Straight Music again, Austin, Texas, and yeah.
Awesome.